Hello, this is Todd Luck, and this is a review of She-Ra and the Princesses of Power Season 4 on Netflix. So, this is a review for Season 4. Like just about any modern series, I recommend going back to the first season if you haven't watched the rest of it and just starting there. If you like the first 3 seasons, you're probably going to like Season 4. Much to my surprise, it's actually 13 episodes, so it's a full 13 episode season. The previous couple seasons have been much shorter, so that was a surprise. I enjoyed it. A lot of the things that I had criticisms of for the previous seasons are still true. I like the design work for the original series better. And then, there's a lot of great characterization, a lot of great action, and a lot of great animation in this series. But I did have a few mixed feelings about this season, so let's go ahead and get into spoilers. And so if you haven't seen the season, please stop the video here, and we'll just get into kind of the meat of the review. And so first of all, just talking about design work, while I do prefer the original series, because those Filmation guys were just sensational at it. I mean, they just... I don't know if they won awards for their backgrounds and things like that, but they should have. But I gotta say that, a lot of the new design work this season was really nice. I like Queen Glimmer's new look. It's a little more in keeping with her Filmation look, and it just worked a lot better for me. She no longer looked like she was going to a 5-year-old slumber party. We actually got to see Mara as She-Ra, and I like Mara's design, both like just Mara and her as She-Ra. I really like that outfit, and I'm hoping Adora kind of gets an upgrade. She probably could use something other than like the little biker shorts, which I've always thought were a little weird on her. And then Double Trouble, new villain for this season, looked great. I really love the outfit, and I love the overall design, even though the idea for the character, it's like a gremlin or something. Is very typical, but it's just the way that they execute it that makes it work and makes it unique to Double Trouble. And at the end, though, we do get to see Horde Prime, and yeah, I didn't really care for Horde Prime's design. He's like a pale guy with pointy ears and like cybernetic dreadlocks. And didn't really care for that, but you can't win them all. And by the way, mentioning Horde Prime, we did get a reveal on if his other clones have names, and it turns out no. My speculation was that, to tell them apart, they would name them, our Hordak is called Hordak, so, the others would be like Horde M or Horde or something. So unfortunately, no, the others don't have names. Hordak, because he was defective, gave himself a name. So unfortunately, there will be no Horde general named Hoarder who has a bunch of junk in his ship. I really wanted that. Oh well, And moving on to the major story arcs of the season, the princesses were much more active this season. They actually appeared in practically every episode, and that was a definite change, and I like that because, previous seasons had sort of become She-Ra and her 2 friends of power, so it was nice to see them more active, and I feel like, it helped, when they all appeared at the end and were interacting with Scorpia. I felt like, just having them already there and active in that season kind of helped with that. There is a subplot with Glimmer becoming like really frustrated with her friends and kind of going down a darker path of vengeance to try to destroy the Horde. It's a cliche, but it's handled well, and it's a logical place to take her after the death of her mother and the added responsibilities of being a queen. But it is a cliche, and unfortunately they do it in a way where Glimmer is just dead wrong. Adora tells her, hey, if you do this, you're going to destroy the planet. And she's like, I don't believe you. And of course, Adora is 100% right. I think it would have been much more interesting if it had been something where, maybe it was something where Glimmer could use the power and it would just be morally wrong. And, you might have to, weigh, civilian casualties or just wiping out all the Horde members. Because there's a great line in there where I believe it was Frosta who said that the Horde are people too. And that could have been an interesting thing to explore. But again, it turned out okay. One major plot line that didn't work as well for me was the Catra Hordak one. I've really loved everything they've done with these characters so far, but unfortunately this season it just felt weird and disjointed. They really wanted Catra to become much more dominant, but it just became very awkward. I mean, she kicks his ass early on in the season, and part of that was just to establish she could defeat him at the end with the final battle there. But I don't know, it was just really strange because she kicked his butt, acted like, she was in charge of him, and then they kind of go back later to him, trying to be, Hordak, trying to be in charge of the Horde, and it was just weird. It was just kind of like, okay, you whooped his ass. Why is he not going to just turn around and kill you? The second he puts that diamond back in and gets his suit running properly. I don't know. It was just a weird relationship that just didn't really click with me this season. And then there was the introduction of Flutterina and Double Trouble. So Flutterina was a very minor character in the old cartoon, and she turned out only to be a disguise for Double Trouble in this series, so she doesn't really exist. That's a small loss. I thought her origin was really cool in the old cartoon. It was kind of a Cinderella story, except the servant girl here goes into a cocoon and she comes out with butterfly wings. I thought that was really cool in the old cartoon. But that's pretty much the only thing I can remember about Flutterina. So I guess it's a minor loss that there's no Flutterina here. We do have a Double Trouble, though, who was not in the original cartoon. But here is really, really cool. So the character was originally conceived of as a good guy, at least according to the mini comic that she appeared in back in the 80s and the Bible for the Filmation series. Now, she never appeared in the Filmation series, but according to the Bible, she was going to be a master of disguise and a good guy, so she would spy on the Horde and then report back to the rebellion. So before this season aired, I kept seeing a lot of headlines about how the new Double Trouble was going to be a gender non-binary shapeshifter, and kept saying how positive this was and how it was, inclusive and all this stuff. But I didn't read the stories. I just saw the headlines. And so I was like, okay, cool, because Double Trouble was a hero in the previous one, and that would be very different sort of representation for someone like that. And then you watch the season, and Double Trouble is an out-and-out villain. Double Trouble is one of the few characters that does not discover the magic of friendship. There doesn't seem to be any type of redeeming quality to Double Trouble. Double Trouble does side with the rebellion at the end, but makes it clear that it's only to save their own skin. Double Trouble, has no kind of morality or anything. Double Trouble is just siding with who Double Trouble believes is the winner. And, with the Horde Prime coming down, with a fleet that blocks out the sun, it's so big that I think Double Trouble's probably going to side with them next season. But I thought that was kind of a weird thing to kind of play up, and then Double Trouble ends up being a villain and does have kind of that same creepy, unsettling vibe that you often see in characters that are trans or gender non-binary. Any character that, does not conform to the you're born male, female, when they get in science fiction and pop culture, they tend to be villains. Just out-and-out villains, and they tend to be portrayed very creepily. And I was sort of surprised that that was the route that they took with Double Trouble. I mean, and then when I went back and read the articles, it was about like how positive it was that the Horde referred to Double Trouble as a they. They used the correct pronoun for a non-binary character, and I'm like, I guess that's good, but wouldn't it have been better if we'd gotten a different representation that was positive? That being said, it is only one season with this character, and there will be other seasons, and it is possible that I apologize, will redeem themselves, and that they will, become a hero or discover the power of friendship. Because they don't really go into Double Trouble's background all that much. So it's very possible we will find out why Double Trouble is the way they are. But I just thought it was kind of weird to play up Double Trouble and then, just do the whole villain thing. I kept waiting for Double Trouble to, be like, it puts the lotion on its skin. But that being said, the thing that saves Double Trouble from becoming that transphobic cliche is that it is an excellently written, excellently acted, and excellently animated part. And they did a great job. And I've considered Double Trouble to be kind of my replacement for Entrappa, who, if you see my previous reviews, I love Entrappa. I don't think Double Trouble is quite as good as Entrappa, because Entrappa is just this, bundle of manic, insane energy that's so much fun. But Double Trouble was a pretty good substitute to tide me over until I got my little bit of Entrappa at the end. And let me point out the first thing in the series I just out and out hate. And that is the plot line that we got this season with the first ones. And the true meaning of what She-Ra is and the sword and all that stuff. I hate it. It is. So last season ended with a cliche I found to be very tired. But it just felt kind of tacked on to an otherwise solid season. This is to the heart of the season and the heart of what the whole show and the whole concept is about. And it's not good. It's one of those like, oh, you secretly were created by dark, sinister forces. Your mentor turns out to be a villain, who doesn't have the best interest of the planet and at heart, and you're going to defy them and choose your own destiny. And yeah, I know, we've seen it a million times in every single thing. It is so tired, and we really, really didn't need to go there. And I feel like it just undermines everything we've been doing with She-Ra. You take a great character like Light Hope, who admittedly is a minor character in the old cartoon series, but a very noble one, and turn them into what seems to be a villain. There is some hint that maybe Light Hope was reprogrammed, or was being forced to do it by her programming, but it was still not where I wanted to see them go. I mean, maybe we'll come back and there'll be a reincarnated Light Hope that will be more noble and more in keeping with the character, but So that being said, I would say that this is not the end of this first one's plot line or the plot line about where Adora is from. I would say, modern storytelling in a TV series, is like China Dolls. It's this cryptic storytelling that they keep teasing out throughout the series. And I would say that this is not the final China Doll where you take it off and you see what's actually underneath it all and what's in the center. This is the next to last China Doll. I feel like the next time we come back to this, then we're going to see what that planet the first ones are from is like and what's really going on. And I say planet because I've probably been referring to it as Eternia. And I've assumed it was Eternia with a lot of other people. But let me just throw something out there. I looked on Wikipedia because it occurred to me this season that they may not have explicitly said it was Eternia. And according to Wikipedia, they have not explicitly said it was Eternia. And the reason why that popped into my head this season is that I finally realized Mara is Mara from New Adventures of He-Man. And so Mara, before this series, has always been from a planet called Primus. Now, I don't know if this Mara is from Primus. Perhaps it is Primus that the first ones are from. It would certainly be more in keeping with what we've seen from the first ones than any previous version we've ever seen of Eternia. That being said, who knows? This is a new cartoon. Maybe we'll end up with an Eternia that's more like Primus. Maybe we'll end up with an Eternia like nothing we've ever seen before. There's other possibilities. This was, what was it, 1,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, whatever, however long it's been. A lot of time has passed, so maybe Eternia is a completely different place. Maybe it's more like what we're used to. Or maybe there's things we don't know. Maybe there are perfectly logical, justifiable explanations as to why the first ones did what they did, and we just haven't seen them yet. Or maybe it's not really the first ones who did it. It's not really the people from that other planet. It is actually a corrupting force that reprogrammed Light Hope. Perhaps, for instance, in the mini comics, in Ancient Eternia, there was a villain named the Nameless One, who the Snake Men served. And we never revealed anything about that character in the old mini comics. But, in the classics canon, when they were, coming out with figures of every single character ever created, they did create a character named the Nameless One, from Ancient Eternia, and made a figure. And so maybe it's the Nameless One or some other type of villain who has done this and just claimed that it was the first ones that did it. I don't know what we're going to go with. I don't know what's going to come out of the portal if we open up a portal and we go through there to Adora's home planet. I don't know what we'll find. The showrunners have said that they don't plan, or have not in the past, planned to feature He-Man. Does that mean that we're not going to get anybody from Masters of the Universe? That's a good question. So I can tell you what I don't want. What I absolutely, line in the sand, do not want. I do not want to go to the first one's planet and have evil King Randor, evil Grayskull, evil Sorceress. I don't want that. Do not give me evil Sorceress. That's my line in the sand. I know it's a new concept. It is a new take on that story, and they can do anything they want with it. But it would be the equivalent of revamping Superman and making him into a murdering child molester or something. Don't do it. Don't do it. You got the freedom to do anything you want. Don't do that. Don't give me evil sorcerers. It's my line. Don't do that. But I hope that they do give us something good out of this, though. I think there's still story to be told here, and I think we'll hopefully get one that I enjoy by the end of it. If not, it's been a great trip. I will say that one of the shoes that did drop at the very, very end was we finally got the Horde coming. Yay! We finally got to see the Horde Empire. And the designs on the ships we saw were super generic and boring. I still hold out hope that, they're going to open up and we're going to see, really cool looking Batmechs and Horde tanks and all that stuff we got in the old cartoon. And like the Velvet Glove, which was Horde Prime's ship in the old series, will be there and stuff. The clock's running down on that, but I'm still holding out hope on that. But regardless, I look forward to seeing the Horde. I look forward to seeing Modulok and Leech and all those characters, hopefully. It has been a long, long time. I've been waiting. But anyway, with some gripes here and there, it's still a really good series that I'm really enjoying. And I think, next season should be really good, because, again, we finally had the shoes dropping. And to address the big news that it has broken since last season, Kevin Smith is making a Masters of the Universe series on Netflix that will follow up on the original Filmation cartoon. It's unknown right now if the Horde and She-Ra and all that are going to appear in the cartoon. I hope so. I mean, I think the world is big enough that I can have my She-Ra and the Princesses of Power and my old Filmation She-Ra at the same time. I don't think there's anything wrong with either version. I think they're both fantastic, and I look forward to both seeing Kevin Smith's new cartoon and the continuation of this current She-Ra cartoon. It is a good time to be a Masters of the Universe fan. So that's it. Like and subscribe for more videos, and until next time, see ya.